Well, let me
Yeah.
ask you then, and if you're not comfortable answering this, it's totally fine. I'm just curious because, there's what we learn in school, and then there's like the real history, right? Or whatever you want to call it. But like when you actually read firsthand accounts, you get a more clear picture of what actually was going down versus kind of just what you're getting through a textbook, written by Joe Schmo that they arbitrarily decided was what you study in school, right? Um, are there any like unique takes, let's say, that you have on the war? And it doesn't have to be in a general sense; it could be in specific battles or specific parts of the war that you may hold that is kind of against the grain as far as what the mainstream opinion is.
Um, I don't think I have anything that is necessarily against the grain, but when you start seriously reading about it, you realize that it is infinitely more complex than anything you ever learned in school. I mean, I guess maybe one thing I have that is, not common in the North is that up there, everybody's like, "Oh, this war was entirely about slavery," and you read about it, and that's absolutely not the case. It was a factor, but it wasn't the end all be all. And then you read accounts of Union soldiers and what they thought about the Emancipation Proclamation, and they said things that cannot be said on YouTube against it. So it's infinitely more complex, and people just don't realize it. They want everything to be black and white, you know, Yankee versus Confederate, and it's not. And it's frankly it's horrible, way worse than you could ever imagine.
Speaking of the Emancipation Proclamation, I've heard, again, I'm not like a U.S. history buff, but I've heard that was more, we learned about that as like this great moral, whatever ethical victory that Lincoln, championed. But in Lincoln's mind, it was more of a political move, like to win the war. Um, Things like that. It's like, we learn in school that like all the warm fuzzy stuff that like, yeah, it's good versus evil. It's, freedom versus slavery. But human history is way more messy than that, right?
Right, absolutely. It was definitely a move that pleased the abolitionists, but it, it was well calculated. He waited until after Antietam, um, which being a Yankee, that was a Yankee victory. So sorry, guys, but but he did not. The important thing with that is he did not release it after a very clear federal defeat because he knew and everybody else knew that doing that would have been like, oh, we're getting thrown back here.
Mm,
Here's a shot in the dark. So
yeah.
definitely political. But many Northerners liked it. Many didn't. Um, but that's where we go back to things being a lot more complicated.